Alright, you're back with comedian David Boyle, and I'm quitting alcohol. So it was first day back at work today, and yeah, I'm not into it. I'm not fucking into it at all. I can't even pretend. I've been trying to explain this to people. I'm just checked out. For about 2 minutes this morning, I was like, oh yeah, fucking cool, I'm back in the crane. Big 22-ton crane. Then I sat in the crane. I was in there for about a minute. And I was like, yeah, fuck this. I'm surprised I even remembered what the fuck to do. I know so little about cranes and mechanics. It's astounding you're allowed in a crane with as little knowledge as I do. On the way to work, I was going through the process in my head of how you fucking set up a crane again, because I had deleted that knowledge from my memory. I was like, that's going to be of no use anymore. And I hop in, and just from the get-go, this fucking crane, it's fucked me every single time I've ever got in it. I've blown the tire out. I've got it bogged. I've tangled up the big hook. Just every time I hop in the fucking thing, it's fucked. So I get in, and I'm fucking around with the levers. They're not working, so I have to call another craney. I'm like, listen, the levers aren't engaging. He's like, just turn it off and on. I'm like, is that like resetting your Sega Mega Drive and blowing into the cartridge? Turn the crane off and on, and then when I turned it back on, another fucking buzzer started buzzing. I'm like, what the fuck is this new buzzer? So I fuck around with the levers. I finally get them in. I start setting up, and this other buzzer's going, and I look at the dash. I'm like, I don't even know what that light is. I don't know what that buzzer is. So I spend 45 minutes in the manual looking up this particular warning light. And I eventually found it, and it was low brake fluid. So I call up the boss. I'm like, look, the buzzer's going off. The brake fluid's low. And he's like, all right, yeah, you're going to have to fill up the brake fluid then. He's like, you know where it is, and there's a bottle behind the driver's seat. Top it up with that. I'm like, yeah, all right, no worries. I'll get on to that now. Hang up the phone. I have no idea where to fill up the fucking brake fluid. Honestly, I have no idea. I've never filled up brake fluid in my own car. If you held a gun to my head and told me to guess on my Honda Civic where the brake fluid goes, I reckon I'm dead. But I just got caught up in the conversation. I couldn't be like, excuse me, what's brake fluid and where do you pour it in? So I made the decision to just ignore the buzzer. And if they asked me why I didn't fill up the brake fluid, I'd be like, I couldn't find the bottle. I looked for it everywhere. I fucking looked for it everywhere. Which isn't the safest thing. I can tell you that right now. It's not the safest. So I continue operating this crane with the buzzer going for about 2 hours, just full blast. And then I'm like, I can't deal with that anymore. I'm going to have to find some brake fluid and where to pour the shit. I'm going to have to do some fucking figuring out. So I go back to the manual, and it says the brake fluid goes in this compartment near the rear tire on the driver's side. And I went there, and there was nothing there. I did circles of the crane, like 20 circles of the crane. The other guys are looking at me going, what the fuck's he doing? And I was pretending I was doing like an inspection of the crane just to make sure everything's tip-top. I went back to the manual. I'm like, where is the brake fluid thing? I don't even know what it's called. Where is the place you pour the brake fluid into? I don't have brake fluid at this point either. And so I did another fucking like half an hour inspection of the crane trying to figure out where the fuck the brake fluid is. And there was a secret compartment. It didn't have a handle or anything. You had to be a fucking magician to figure it out. A magician or someone who knew what was going on. Someone who knew just like 10% of what was going on. So I pull that up and I look at the two brake fluid compartments and I'm like, that's the first time I've ever seen a brake fluid compartment. I'm like, wow. Looking at those two things was as foreign to me as being in a DMT trip. Luckily, right next to it was some brake fluid, and I used my common sense and rational thinking, and I worked out how to pour the brake fluid into those little compartments. And I can tell you right now, that was one of the proudest moments I've had in about 3 years. The buzzer went off. The brakes are sorted. I've learnt a new skill. And now I can just happily Instagram all day. So the crane work finishes, and then I have to go out and help the lads erect steel. Put up purlin and shit. This one's for the tradies out there. So I did that, which I hated. I'm like, I'm fucking getting out of these next 3 days. I don't want to do it. My knees started hurting immediately. I'm like, I'm just not built for this. I've got soft hands. Even when I'm doing steel work without gloves, my hands never callous up. They're soft hands. So we get to the end of the day. I hop back in the crane to pack her up and fuck off. I turn her on and that fucking buzzer starts going again. The same one. The brake fluid buzzer. I'm like, what the fuck is going on now? I'm like, there must be a leak because I filled the whole fucking thing up. And I go back to the secret compartment and one of the brake fluid tubes is completely empty again. So I look under the crane and there's a tube that's just pissing out blue brake fluid. I'm like, all right, now what? So I call up the boss again. I put on my full tradie voice. So I fucking topped up that brake fluid this morning. I turned the crane off, went out and helped the boys with the purlin and doing the steel. I go to pack up at the end of the day, turn the crane on, and the buzzer goes back on. I look under the crane, fucking piercing out brake fluid. The line's split, and she's empty again. It's like, yeah, that's no good. We got a spare line. It's on the dashboard. Just grab that and just whack her on, mate. I turn off the tradie voice. I'm like, listen, I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't know how to put a brake pipe on. I remember once hearing someone say, you need to bleed the brakes. I don't know what that is. I'm not doing it. I'm just like, I'll come in the morning and we'll have a look at it. I'm like, is this really worth it? I'm just not into it. This economic meltdown and fucking worldwide depression could not come quick enough for me. And here's a weird thing that happened. I put my kid to bed tonight, and after I read him a story, he's like, Dada, come here, and gave me a big hug and a kiss, which he never usually does. And then I walk out, turn the light on, and he's like, Dada, Dada. And I turn the light back on, he's like, you've got to be careful. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, because you can fall. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? He gave me a kiss and a hug like he's never going to see me again, and then fucking mind fucks me with the be careful thing, you might fall. Now it's so deep in my head, it's probably going to become a self-fulfilling prophecy. So I'm probably going to die tomorrow at work. He died doing what he loved, operating cranes. Then all the cranies in the industry will just be like, fuck, he was one of us, that bike. That kid loved a fucking heavy lift. And I'll be looking down going, shut the fuck up. If I didn't try and replace that brake line myself, I would still be here. So wish me luck tomorrow because I don't like signs like that. Especially when future premonitions run in the Boyle family, along with schizophrenia. Anyway, hopefully I'm back tomorrow. But that's it from me tonight. I got to get up nice and early tomorrow. I just froth the tools, mate. I just fucking froth the tools. You know, I fucking hate just being cooped up at home. I fucking get on those tools, mate. Get a little bit of sun on the back and you know how it is, mate. Fucking end of the week, have a few frothies. Fucking froth the tools. Ugh, that's not me. Alright, that's it. I'll catch you the fuck later.